Says great resolution. Jeez. Okay. So one of the roommates just got home. The lady. His name goes Sue. Some SU something. And she's screaming and yelling all by herself. Sounds like she's maybe, I don't know who she's talking about. Hopefully not me. About 2 jobs and this and that. And before that, I was strange because the other roommate was asking me about my work. He just moved in. I don't even know this dude's real name, where he's from, but he's asking me these questions. I don't know who he is. I ask him the same questions, and you know how it is. So, chances are they probably know each other somewhere, along with this other fool who's over here. Just keep recording. Protection and evidence. Got it? Good. 856, 1011, 219. Continue. Rolling. All right. I also have it on the phone too. Same feed? Or is it different? Oh, okay. So I got 2 feeds. One on the phone, one right here. So they can't pull like, he said, she said shit. So basically, it's one document. There you go. There's me. Live stream. All right, folks. Thanks, Mark. Friday night. Happy weekend, hopefully. Cheers. Yeah. I got 2, 3 jobs, lady. Don't ask me about it because it's none of your business, to be honest with you. Yeah, there. Just get indicted.
I spent so much time behind bars and slowly losing my mind. Got my lady tripping, telling me if I ever change my ways. She's sick and tired of my shit. She said she loved me. I can't take it no more. I don't know what to do, but I swear I love you too. What can I say? The streets throwing me and shit. I'm just a gangster girl, and I thought she needed to getting into it. Took a chance on me, but I guess I'm on my own once again. I ain't tripping and shit. I'm surrendering myself. Still letting motherfuckers know that back to it. Time on my brown, bloody criminal. That's my role to the full. That you know how we roll. Chicas criminals, I was putting in work. The most folks better look. Some ideas down the ride. Ain't no bitches in my cream. I think I got it all like a war. Never said it's strong. Steady green bills, still running no more. Tag bang on them names. Even if the heart feels safe. Fuck my enemies on the ground. Letting criminal you bitches little. But still can't fix. Yeah, stay zero. From the feet up. Sorry, this motherfucker won't see the como sinner. Caught up in the system, I was feeling that. No, take outside, gotta find a history for what can I say? Young deep, had it go. This is not age to my family. I consider that's the worst. It was the straight fuck up, talk, black shit, out cat on the floor, family. So when I lock in this box, I was missing me. Gotta give it to my social, I was running with me. Even though I'm locked away, it's still putting it back. My straight throwing it up. And I really can't put me know how really I was born to push and I let it be known. I check out my enemies and I show no love. It's right home and how it's supposed to be. Fuck you bitches, fuck pay your way. Fuck bitches, yes, fuck as a kid. Fuck to the kid, fuck in the big old fuck as a kid. Fuck the hard houses, and fuck the law. That's right. I keep it gang strong, homie, that's a known fact. So it's in the fucking law, so there's some real source. Gotta take up time to give some shout out to the homies putting it down. Talking cat bird from the alley bullshit. Red bull, sleeping door, don't keep me shit. My love on that west side, mother street, die you on the whole thick. Little color from TK, too sick from TK, earth through stuff from the sister. Keep putting it down. To my face like a wave, keep your head up. I know how it feels being left behind, walk to the world, try beat. I'll be there soon to my blood from my shit. Keep the beat stuck, yeah, I know what's up. So it's in the fucking lock, cause it's my rock, so clear, and I'm a league like you.
Yeah. Y'all know how we do this.
With a record, so what you trying to blink? It's every 26, 266 motherfuckers in the gym. I don't play like that. I'm TV, oh my god. I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up. Fuck your ass get got. I don't play like that. I'm TV, oh my god. I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up. Fuck your ass get got. Hell no, motherfucker. I don't play like that. Keep pushing when you see me till I feel your gas. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about the song group. Back to this, I put the good talk. One fight, play like that. Don't play like that. Back up, little money till I feel your gas. Fuck your ass for more than one bit. You'll be scared. Body drop, flip flop, and intersection. Bitches drop top with a tag on my head. And all my enemies wanna see me there. I'm still standing strong, I'm still standing tall. Took a shot, motherfucker, but I'm still right here. And I think I got my message out loud and clear. I don't play like that, I don't play like that. Back up, motherfuckers, cause I feel your cat. I don't play like that. I'm TV, oh my god. I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up, bitch, before your ass gets got. I don't play like that. I'm TV, oh my god. I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up, bitch, before your ass gets got. I know who fucking family, any fucking bitch, if you know what I mean. I must have get my green in the spot. My leader is getting hectic, so expected. Here's the fuck my perspective. Trying to be like this if I wanna live. Get excited when I bust it. I love it. And rash when I bust and I'm bumping. Really yeah. And the niggas wanna.
How do you get involved with each other?
My life is here, I belong to you. Everything is all I can say. Dead, never let you go. Dedicated to the heart of this thing, they call me Rational. That's me when I'm baptized. Now I'm burning out whatever it is that I survive. I live my past life, this is like a behind. So I'm living like a sure, I'm serving up the fucking up and talk it. Everything's a risk, I take it. I look for the bottom, you never be forsaken. I'm somebody, please, you get my fucking cat. Cause the way I'm living life, I'm bound to bad. Dedicated to the heart, I'm bound to you. Protecting with my soul, I'm bound to you. Anything you want, just ask me for me. I know you're up for me, so I never leave you alone. Dedicated to the heart, I'm bound to you. Protecting with my soul, I'm bound to you. Anything you want, just ask me for me. I know you're up for me, so I never leave you alone. Compressing the feelings, I'm getting my feeling. My own shit, I'm ready for the feeling. I'm so good to time for the life that you provide. It's like everlasting kiss. When I know you're gonna slide, I can throw in the streets. When I'm a better way, you can take me and I'm me crazy. I'm to the same soul. When I have you criminal, but for that I get thanks to the motherfucking body. You never get expected. And maybe you shall put it down with shovel deep deck. And I will think twice, give you 25 a line. Cause the day you meet me, I guarantee it won't be nice. I'm around, try to run around and put my hood down. Ain't no love, motherfuckers, people from the same town. You can say I'm your perfect cause I'm ready for war. So here I am, motherfucker, looking at the front door. Dedicated to the bottom, I'm bound to you. Protecting with my soul, I'm bound to you. Anything you want, please ask me more. I know you're right for me, so I never leave you lonely. Dedicated to the bottom, I'm bound to you. Protecting with my soul, I'm bound to you. Anything you want, please ask me more. I know you're right for me, so I never leave you lonely.
Comcat. Pat. So. Híjole. Dinero.
Yeah. Y'all know how we do this.
With a record, so what you trying to blink? So like I'm a fucking put up in my knees. It ain't a motherfucking blessing, just a way that I can't let it be. Motherfucking so you gotta commit. You can't be like me. It won't never be the same one. Motherfucking crazy. You know the ones that can't take me talking about a real I was a big lyrically murder. Easy shots in your face. I got even more lesson. You wanna taste of this 30 round clip? You say motherfucking crazy. You know I don't wanna catch a case that can give you fucking you know. You control this shit on a mission. Not to go to leaving cemetery, small shades, 166 motherfuckers in the east. I don't play like that. I keep being strong like that. I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up. I don't play like that. I keep being strong like that. I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up. Hell no, motherfucker, I don't play like that. Keep pushing when you see me, cause I feel your head down. That's what I'm talking about. The song will back move. Don't play like that, don't play like that. Back up, little me, so I hear your cat. Fuck your ass for more, that's what big you'll be scared. Buddy drop right in the sections. Bitches drop in the attack on my head. And on my enemies, they want to see me dead. I'm still standing strong, I'm still standing tall. Took a shot, motherfucker, but I'm still right here. And I think I got my message up loud and clear. But I don't play like that, I don't play like that. Back up, motherfucker, cause I feel your cat. I don't play like that. I keep being strong like that. I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up before you ask this cat. I don't play like that. I keep being strong like that. I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up before you ask this cat. I know who fucking family, fucking bitch if you know what I mean. I must have get my queen in the spot. My lady is getting vexed sick, so expected. Here's the fucking my perspective. Trying to be like this if I wanna live. Get excited when I bust it, I love it. Any reaction when I bust it, I'm bumping. Really getting. In the middle part of the play, I don't play like that. You the Lord was the man, nothing on me now. I'm on back, feel kind of no that. With the big stack, so you can't live this whatever while I'm doing my match. So when I come back, have it. I don't play like that. Watch me be, oh my God, I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up. Put your ass in back. I don't play like that. Watch me be, oh my God, I don't play like that. I don't play like that. You better back up. Put your ass in back.
Listen up, the soap you shower with, you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little man? Ugh. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who open the pickle jar in the first try. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. Dare I say, soft. Oh, men aren't supposed to have soft skin? Yeah, well, men weren't supposed to cry during movies. And then they made the movie Rudy. You want to smell like the forest? Boom, pine tar, we've got you. You want to smell like the sea? Boom, nautical sage, we've got you. You want to smell like you just got off a boat in the Caribbean? Boom, bay rum, we've got you. And with 6 more cents, we've got you covered no matter what kind of man you are. Now you're wondering, why have I been doing it wrong for so long? During the First World War, big soap started taking out all the natural ingredients to make production cheaper and faster. They replaced all the natural stuff with chemicals. Chemicals like sodium lauryl sulfate, parabens, and dioxin. Chemicals linked to depression, liver damage, cancer, and low sperm count. And worst of all, dry skin. Oh, your poor balls, all dry, empty, and sad. But there's good news. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. No, turn your shower game up to 11 with the smooth lather of gold moss or the exfoliating woodsy bliss that is pine tar. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive. Still not sure? Here's a couple reviews from real customers. Joseph S. says, "This is the perfect bar of soap. It's like it was handcrafted in the Northwest Forest by beautiful tiny elves." Oh, tiny elves isn't enough for you? Well, here's another review from Michael A. "It makes you feel like you just stepped out of a mountain stream and Squatch was there to hand you the towel." Time for you to get the right tool for the job, because you're worth it, my friend. We ship it right to your door. And with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, if it's not the best bar of soap you've ever used, it's on us. Tens of thousands of men already subscribe, which means that every month, fresh new bars of Squatch show up at their door. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. Or don't, and continue to be mommy's little helper. That's a wrap. All right, nice. Yeah. Nice. Did he click it yet? Did he click the link? He hasn't clicked the link? I would have when I heard about the dry, sad balls. Ooh. Man, what's this guy doing? Click the link, man. Step up your shower game. For real though, dog. For real. So how much you fucking get?
Not your fucking fake phony, bro. Run your motherfucking link, get out the seat, dog. Fuck out. I'ma show you how I get there, fool. Alright. I'ma take a back your pesos desde digo estoy vivo young primo. On a mission, finger dripping, bloody dripping. The lady competition, the real, not the realest, and we ride on you bitches. Nigga was a singer to the Mars and a ride till we fall. Fuck the love, I get the line, and we Mars, fuck the Mars, fuck the Mars. Big dog productions on the come up, moving up and they get fucking done up. On a mission, finger dripping, popping up the dripping. Let them have it, bully y'all, man. Sick of fucking status, so we at it. We be the baddest in the land of the savage. Sick in the dark, got we broke, it's a stroke. 44, boy, you fake fucking chumps. Pretty fucking slugs, so we run. You were kicked up and you know it. Throw up your set just to fucking show it, show it. Damn, that's why I'm a true gangster. My true fucking Jesus. Not your fake wannabe, dog. Came in the hood, you and your from. Wasn't even heard of you, dude. Fuck are you, dog? Where you at, homie? Get at me, dog. What's up? Label me a lethal weapon, Smith the West, 57. Got you motherfuckers scared. Like we robbed the 7-Eleven, motion bus. You'll be on your way to heaven, ain't no sinning. If we come back, shit, you fast, so every bang, go be trouble. You can smell it, once we mobbing, you're the race. Ain't no second guessing that we gon' teach you as a lesson, leave your brain scattered. All over the intersection, you can't need more than a bodyguard and really representing. We're a threat to yourself. When you stepping up, pretending in my kids, let's start shit. Look to get your wings, stopping to be finished. Fit to leave you as they manage. I'm the G, but 50 minutes, and you know it helps scandalous. Cause you know we ain't the average. All you begging, ain't no challenge for the cabbage. I'm a savage, I'm a damage on y'all. If you bitches hanging, just like my balls, and I'm a throw my set, cause I die for my dogs, yeah. Drop the sand, down the ride. All you motherfuckers just running high, cause you're fucking with the six from the criminal side. Where we let the Holocaust fly, fly. Drop the sand, down the ride. All you motherfuckers just running high, cause you're fucking with the six from the criminal side. Where we let the Holocaust fly, fly. So let me get ready for another fucking day. You bitches know my fucking niggas on the ring of the city. You claim to be the fucking bitch, but you ain't about shit. You little never know what, so there's no reason to trip. Pick up the path that we on the way, just call me so quick. I put it down, but the bitches got you on in my mix. You got it lying for shit. I be the best of the biz. I be the jungle from the kitchen. I be coming like this. I never clean murder. You be being stuck like a bitch. So if you anything to real, just gonna open your dick. Just miss the kind of motherfucker. What you think about this? I put me down to the creek. I'm fucking beer, get your shit. Hold on, homie, put it work. Looking out for the route, but back in now. And I'm really fully live on my fucking breaking out. Super beans, putting it up on my dogs. Like everything you motherfucker to be the first to the wall. Throw up your sand, down the ride. All you motherfuckers just running high, cause you're fucking with the six from the criminal side. Where we let the Holocaust fly, fly. Throw up your sand, down the ride. All you motherfuckers just running high, cause you're fucking with the six from the criminal side. Where we let the Holocaust fly, fly.
Día de los muertos, no dejes que te encuentren, me siento muy violento, tomando presidente, perdí muchos amigos, no fueron accidentes, no sé cómo pierdes la vida de repente, si no lo hago yo, si lo hace alguien más, atacamos como perros, nunca vivir en paz, matar solo sabemos, morir por este amor, dicen que mi papá, pero para mí yo vivo un sueño, uno de estos días sí me va a tocar mi turno.
Sometimes I feel I'm gonna break down and cry. Nowhere to go, nothing to do with my time. I get lonely, so lonely, living on my own. Sometimes I feel I'm always walking too fast, and everything is coming down me. I go crazy, oh so crazy, living on my own. Sometimes I feel nobody gives me no warning, but my head is always up in the clouds in a dream world. It's not easy.
This is Mongolia, and we are not the only company in the world who's created a premium 100% sweater for just $75 that you can wear when you water a forest? What are you doing, man? To do that, we needed kids like this. No, these kids don't work for us. They inspire us. And actually, we work for them. Through a series of nonprofits, we've built this park, planted over 2,000 trees, built more than 30 miles of fencing, inoculated over 1 million goats, and set the mood for breeding action like this. God. It all started a few years ago when we came to Mongolia and fell in love with the country, the people, and the baby goats. But not in a weird way, just in a frolicking way. We realized that by going into the cashmere business and cutting out the middleman, we could pay our friends more and sell luxury products for less. It's simple, kind of. You still have to turn this into this, because this doesn't count, unless you're Bjork. It goes like this. We buy the raw cashmere and drive it 36 hours to the capital. Well, we don't drive it, Vogul does. When Vogul falls asleep, Gan takes over. Once there, we wash and dehair the raw material until Turgan gives it a thumbs up. We then go 600 miles to a top-of-the-line spinning facility with Italian machinery. You can tell they're Italian because the machines are powered by pasta. No? Okay, Mr. Chen owns the place. He's not Italian, otherwise he would have liked that joke. But he really does make the best cashmere yarn in the world. Finally, the yarn goes to this family-owned facility where we are now part of the family. And this family has created the most comfortable and stylish sweaters in the world. Sweaters that are perfect for reading a book, pillow talk, being a model on a fancy photo shoot, standing in a doorway, laughing in that same doorway, lounging in a bathtub in front of an old barn, drinking coffee.
It's lunchtime.
And I don't know what that means. Point is, we treat the environment and everyone along the way with care and respect, so that we can make luxury sweaters that are 100% cashmere that only cost $75. It wasn't easy, but we busted our humps. Relax, just a figure of speech. The $75 sweater, only from Nana.
Encerrado otra vez, bitches winkle. Nunca vas a entender fucking rascal. You're leaving me again. I don't seem to be in jail. What a fucking boyfriend. Put that shit out. I got enough shit on my mind. Like what you gonna do with my ass is doing time. I'm gonna work for that shit. Girl, what you say for me? You know I don't trust you. I never be at peace. We get beat up. Perdóname, por favor, si tú lo supieras. Todo mi dolor, mis pensamientos y las cosas que ha hecho. Vivir bajo tu techo, ya no tengo el derecho. Work on yourself and they'll take away the house. Stop being so selfish and having all these doubts, baby, please. Just spend the night with me. Tomorrow in the morning, I'm going to the county.
Maybe it's gonna be okay. Gonna be okay. Maybe it's gonna be okay. Yes, it is. Maybe it's gonna be okay. Gonna be alright. Maybe it's gonna be okay. Yes, it is.
It'll be okay as long as you're on my side. Cause we got you with the matter with my little time. So we never play, baby, and it counts your food. So telling you go this time and like the usual. Now I know it was all in my heart. Never would I let a day never too far. They gotta tell me, they don't know what I got. Cause you were there for me when I got knocked up inside. Cause I love you, babe, and I appreciate you being there for me. Cause after what you tell me, don't worry. You could get better when we talk about hoes in a future. If you hug and kiss you, yeah, bet I bet you can't picture me without you. Even though we fight, it's if we can't be separated, no, not a single night. You think I like seeing you cry, I'd rather make you smile. Been together for a while, not 5 years.
shit that I put you through, all the things that I did to you. I know you love me and I love you too. Listen to what I gotta say. Don't worry about a damn thing. Everything will be okay.
Baby, it's gonna be okay. Gonna be okay. Baby, it's gonna be okay. Yes, it is. Baby, it's gonna be okay. Gonna be alright. Baby, it's gonna be okay. Yes, it is.
Just when I thought the world came crashing down, I get a little better, say you'll always be around. Put a smile on my face, you're the only one that does. Play you when I'm thinking what my homies getting bust. I'm feeling fucked up, got a nigga singing out the door. Sounds like I don't wanna be a player no more.
You want to
Play
bet?
on it, flower in my field. Smile, break it down, and I'll tell you how I feel. I ain't embarrassed. Matter of fact, baby girl, I cherish.
Yeah.
And every other bitch before you perish. It's okay, I ain't tripping on the time. As long as you visit and you keep me in your mind, I get lost in the thoughts, close down to your thought. And my heart will forever be unlocked. Just listen to what I gotta say. Don't worry about a damn thing. Everything will be okay.
Baby, it's gonna be okay. Gonna be okay. Baby, it's gonna be okay. Yes, it is. Baby, it's gonna be okay. Gonna be alright. Baby, it's gonna be okay. Yes, it is.
Santa Ana police say this man, 28-year-old Brian Keith, busted more than violated parole by walking away from a drug treatment facility. Investigators say he and two other suspects attempted to murder a gang rival.
These individuals got out of the car, walked up to him, specifically shot him at least 6 times on the chest.
This shooting took place outside his Santa Ana situation.
Real, when it's a can't sleep with me. Cause even when I try, all I've seen to do is think about dumb shit. Shit out of the ordinary. I hear your screams, but I don't think it's scary. Is it going on when I feel my hormones intensify? When I see you die, yes, yes, I think I'm going crazy. And then I see my baby's face. Daisy, stay away from me, stay away from me. I ain't that sweet baby boy that you think. Blink and I run for your eyes. Think about that. Remembering the blood on my brain angel's head. And when I close my eyes, I try hard to hide it. I see my whole world ain't stop the violence. Do you feel it? Feel it like I do. Don't look behind you. Move behind you. Right. I no longer got the smoke in my eyes. I only see it's black, black, and get a little vibe when you see me. And say, look the other way. You know what's rap, fake, visions of you spray when that bullet enters. You penetrate your flesh, explore on contact like you get into your head. So what has he been to have these stars? Ever since the king, I've been locked in the box, contemplate his scheme. Got the mind, be a plan. Take over the good, and I'm happy in my hand. So if I connect it, find a resurrect it. And all my enemies will lie and back it. It's a fucking life, cause you can't just words. Really in my blood, it's deep in my nerves. Wild on my thoughts, got me feeling so anxious. Grab a fucking scrap, it's got me getting anxious. Why? Life's complicated, living life so really shit. I walk the walk in my breath, for people kid. Lifestyle, some what I can and can't do. This wall walk around with a place like fuck you. I do what I want, I take what I can. What I already want for my good people stand. All of us are singing, so we know pity. Come with precious like me. Wait, situation under control. What I say when I'm living in the streets and I'm step of the day. Pushing that man, exactly that black. Yeah, man, walking in your path, get back. Give me my tattoos, walk in my shoes. Come and take places with me. I'm cool. It's like it's real, make me feel real. Like it's unfair. I'm really chill. As we walk the valley, I often reminisce about when I was a kid and it comes to when standing there right now, watching the sunrise, feeling the energy of the valley. Sometimes I go for hikes, I run, but I love to take photos of this valley. It's such a beautiful place to be. I do go to Calico Bay. I run down the trail on the backside. I swam across the bay. I walk along the shoreline. I can take myself into the time period, emotionally and mentally, and that will give me an even more deeper respect for the land and the people that want to live there. The nature of the land speaks to me not in words but in feelings and emotion. So in order for me to keep my sanity, I have to go out there. And even if I do nothing, I choose to be out there. You know, and the energy that's within the food from the land, revitalize your soul if you allow it. यार किसी को बेटा ने बोला क्यों दें I can night so again they got it
I'm thinking this is where the magic happens. Waimea is one of the first aspects for the island and the state.
As I drive past Kahulu and I see all these kids, and what are they doing? They're surfing. Now, surfing was actually born here in Hawaii. Doesn't matter what skill level you are, you take part in something that's been in Hawaii for generations.
And
Never
it's
lost.
dope.
I've never ever been in a fight in my life. I surround myself with positive energy, a low spirit, and it becomes full circle.
But also come guess.
Today we're serving Ono, tomorrow might be Mahi. It's all depending on what someone catches and what ocean provides.
So the food is much better when you have someone passionate about the food that they give it to you. It came from this very island that you're on.
Wow. I understand. And
Mom, they the same like I know. You act funny, talk funny, everything's enjoy me. It's good. My work.
never join.
What's it like in your world? Cause el mal envío viaje para tus días sentimientos de coraje. Muchos de mensajes que mi bebé te platica. Y me después de madre de familia. Y tú estás por tu throne. We're just gonna stray. No matter how I try to shake it, I go away. Next up I do, the action to the night. Hearing voices in my head. Every day to fucking fight, I'm all sick. Hearing voices telling me to stick one. If anybody knew I swear to God I'm on the stick one. Every day struggle in my battlefield. They said if I never leave without packing my shit, the best thing I just let loose. Through the house I visualize. I see my dead homies that every day ain't right. So I come back to the sky with a feeling so raw. Open up for all the cities that I need to get them wrong. My world, where the gangsters back east. My world, where the first to the streets. My world, gotta keep your eyes open. My world, where the next starts talking. My world, where the gangsters back east. My world, where the drugs control the streets. My world, gotta keep your eyes open. My world, where they never stop smoking. Over revelations, the dragons and serpents, I give a fuck, busted on your bitch, snitches, bitches, left them all on punches. I take your fucking life, people in the street disgusted, busted in my head, I'm on my grave, say no, every time I get out, I stay ready for the gunplay, rock bottom, think he twice cause I shot him, I've seen this shit, anything, I heard the gun, got him. Oh shit, it's a mission up in my world, everybody say I'm tripping, but I know what I heard, it's just pack heat, where the drugs control the street, where the drinkers don't sleep, and the addicts don't eat, this is my world, full of treachery and gunshots, heroin and marijuana, my world, with the gangsters pack heat, my world, with the drugs control the streets, my world, gotta keep your eyes open, my world, where they never stop smoking, my world, just pack heat, my world, where the drugs control the streets, my world, gotta keep your eyes open, my world, where they never stop smoking. In my world, you see raccoon knives and horns, stuck up in the city, got some bloody rose horns. The meat with us be telling me to claim your first born. Never fear the axe attack and ain't no fourth born. It's the spirits, yes, say you ever seen me sleep. Ask my homie people, I be giving fools the creeps when I tweet. Right, step the fuck back, telepathic messages be telling me to lay it back with my strap. They say, won't you keep in my shit? How could you as much talk about the shit we make up? See, I've been there, I've done that. I seen bodies fall, 40 glocks, I've seen the ricochet off the wall shit. Seen the street leave the earth once so quiet. I'm a straight rider and I just can't deny it. Now tell me, they said, what it is you see? I see that.
And we walked about.
And every which way with the little homie singing up the hey, hey, hey. I'm throwing up that air, you're recording in the air, so it's dying. Never again, bitch, I never took a soul. I took some out medicine, I think you gotta go with that shit. I never get so the damn on the phone. They keep us never keep it, they were running it off on it. I'm fucked up, bitch, I'm like stupid ass up. Now get up and look me in my face. Fuck with tears, you bitch, bitch, I'm a pussy, that's your face. Never get it, bitch, and you got my last money. You got me coming on the wrong red, full of bullets in my stomach. But you know that I'm running. Fuck like you're a rat, no, I should run. Never took a soul. I was told. I was my soul. Never took a fucking snake in the ground. Never took a soul. I was told. I was my soul. Never took a soul. Trust the soul. Trust your ass. Trust me. Yeah. Took you by the hand cause I wanted you with me and everything was funny until you did. Thinking I'm a fool, bitch, you better just miss me. What the fuck were you thinking? Am I doing you wrong? I'm still tagging along. I ain't a motherfucker you can go cheat on. You give a fuck about you that you wanna go to date. You wanna be a hoe, there ain't much that I can say. You wanna be a bitch, then be on your merry way. You wanna try to play me, bitch, I'll get it, man. I'm a bitch, so I'm gonna do something and say. Call me an asshole, that's what you want. I don't give a fuck, I'm still the one on top. You got me fucked up, bitch, I ain't the one. I'm never gonna stop, I'll be having some fun. Never took a soul. I was told. I was my soul. Never took a fucking snake in the ground. Never took a soul. I was told. I was my soul.
Rest in the peace, but I love you, yo, see, like I got love on my OG, stuck to the homie, yo, D, keep your head up. They want to change.
The misconception is that we're no good. to society. But we are here, and we can bring out a different perspective. We can show you a different life. You don't have to open up your whole heart, just but let them work for it. We have to work for it, man. We don't expect people just to give it to us. If you don't see the change, then you have the right to reject it.
Just see it. Not in your eyes. But
How I got in prison was I committed a crime, first degree murder. I gave up my whole life. I walked away from my family. Because when I committed my crime, they went out there. I did that. I turned my back on my family. I left my community a broken person, a hurt person. I destroyed my community by the crime I committed. And I would like to give back.
I won't go too far back, but after my parents divorced, my mom remarried, I had a manipulative stepdad. They divorced. I had a disconnect with my uncles, my aunts, grandparents. It was a cultural feud. They were immigrants from Pakistan. So I didn't really get along with them. And my dad, there was a tease there for my dad. And I like to say, I don't know how my life would have been if he was all the way in my life. How my life would have been if he was all the way out. But the way my life was, he was in and out. And my mom remarried, moved out of state at my age 17. And when she left, I already knew that I was so rebellious against my uncles, aunts, and grandparents. I didn't speak to them, I didn't talk to them, I would run away. So at age 17, I was homeless up until the age 18 where I committed my crime.
My first memories of my dad was him coming home from prison. That's the first time I laid eyes on him. I was told about him, that he was a gangster, he was in and out of prison. And also was told that, when I was young, he didn't want me. He didn't want to claim me. And I just grew up having this negative image about myself, that I didn't have worth, that I didn't have value. There's a lot of factors, and just be aware that, I say this not to excuse anything that I've done, but just to connect the dots for you, right? Just so that you can kind of see what led me here. But one night, mom and dad was collecting a drug debt. He was stabbed, and that kind of put me over the edge. And I looked at that as just an opportunity to finally go to the ultimate extreme, to validate myself as his son, and as the gang member. All that whole culture, it all kind of culminated in this one night, and it gave me that horrible reason. It gave me the reason to finally go there, and I did. And that night, I shot and killed 2 people. Everyone told me that you're done. You're gonna die in prison, and it was really hard to stay positive, stay focused. There were times when I just felt like not living anymore. Just all that guilt, shame from the crime to my family. But I think as human beings, we kind of cling to hope, and I was hoping and praying that I would somehow beat my case, and that kept me going. And then when I lost, I was devastated. And I think around that time, I kind of got a little older. So I guess I was more mature and mentally and emotionally developed to where I kind of just owned up to what I did. And, I was sentenced to 30 years to life plus 11 years to life. I looked at being maybe 60 years old when I went home. And in my head, I said, well, I killed 2 people. I deserve that and I can live with that. I guess that kind of kept me going. And when the Senate Bill 260 came out, it just gave people who committed their crime as juveniles the opportunity to have their sentences amended and have special considerations for parole when they see the parole board. And I barely missed that. Right? I was 19 when I committed my crime. But I was getting word that, they're going to try to expand it. They're going to try to expand it. And sure enough, I think about a year and a half after that one passed, they started pushing Senate Bill 261, which raised the age from 17 and under to all the way to 22 years old. So October of last year, they got signed into legislation, and I finally got hope, real hope. My earliest possible parole hearing date went from 2032 to October of this year. I get emotional because there was a lot that happened. I told my daughter she can finally have her dad, and I can finally be a good dad. she said, you always have been. And it's one thing that blew my mind.
So most of my time was spent in a maximum security level 4 prison. And in level 4 prisons, there aren't any rehabilitative programs. The culture is very violent. There's a lot of violence, race riots, stabbings, assaults. And when those incidents happen, the prison goes on lockdown, which means I could spend from an hour to a year inside of a cell. So when we're on these lockdowns, there is no education. Education that'll be given to you is basically what you give or how you want to educate yourself during these lockdowns. My first 10 years was spent 80, maybe 90% inside of a cell. So during that time, psychologically, I think the human brain is forced to tap into survival mode. I feel like that's relative to the individual. So how I related to survival was make sure my mind is sharp. I don't get defeated, go crazy, lose my mind. So I would read spiritual books, the Bible, the Quran, Buddhist books, or any self-help book that I would find. My favorite thing to read was about successful people. Anyone that had a success story, famous, I would love to read biographies or autobiographies about them. And I think I didn't realize that at that time, but I think what it did for me was keep a sense of hope, whatever hope looked like. I felt like I had something still to look forward to.
Prison can be a very hostile place. You're not guaranteed you're gonna make it out of prison. But am I gonna fall up and ball up in the corner and just say, "Well, it's me"? I can't. 25 years of being in prison taught me that I can self-persevere, and I'm gonna go beyond that. Like I said, I won't ball up and go away from it.
Literally my first day being arrested, first day going into a cell, it hit me. I mean, the empathy was there, the all the feelings that come up of just hurt. And then that time at age 18, there was self-pity, but then there's also empathy for the crime I committed. There was anger towards my parents and my uncles, aunts, my grandparents. I was already getting fed up with my lifestyle, being homeless for almost a year. So the moment I think for me was, you know what, I can't again let myself just lose. I need to do something. I need to make something better out of my life and give back to the people I've hurt.
So when I finally got into the groups and started really exploring the roots of my anger, the reason why I came here, I felt like I had the answer to what the world needs, and that was just empathy. And in cultivating that empathy, I started getting more victim awareness and understanding the impacts that I've caused. One of the things I really try to do was write a remorse letter. But this is not an excuse, right? Because I never wanted to sound like that. But every time I try to write something, that's what it sounds like. Like nothing could excuse it. Nothing could make things right. There's a void that I've created that is impossible to fill. In my head, I'm like, what can I do? Right? What can I do? There's nothing. And so the only thing I could come up with was to be a better person, right? To honor them, to do what I can to teach the world everything that I've learned and everything that we do here. I do what I can to bring it to the world because I feel like that's the only way that I can make indirect amends.
I won't come back. I'll do whatever I gotta do to stay out there. And if I'm behind, I'm behind. But I'll do what I have to do to be a better person. As long as my family is proud of me, I'm feeling good about myself. That's all that matters because I can't ever come back.
Education in here is really important, right? Because what happens is guys come in and they don't know about rehabilitation. Right? That's something that we're never taught about on the streets or at home, right? What is rehabilitation, right? But we're taught about education, and that helps us open our eyes, right? And get a wider view of the world, right? And our place in it. So I think what happens is, at least for prison university, they gravitate to that. They find out you can get an AA for free, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I was supposed to get an education. No one's like, oh yeah, I was supposed to go to anger management class and learn how to be a better person. No one thinks about that. But what happens is when they come to class and like I said, they see a broader picture, they kind of change their worldview, and that actually opens the door for them to be more open to the self-help program. So I think it's really important in here. And then on the streets, I think that gives you a definite advantage. It's already hard to go through the application process and to put in your resume with all these gaps in your work record. But when you come in there and you can say, hey, you know what, I did do this, it's going to give you a better talking point. And if you sell it right, I feel like you can you can really utilize that and say, hey, look, I did rehabilitate myself.
A lot of people incarcerated that I've met, they only know one lifestyle. They only know one way to think. Unfortunately, they've never been exposed to anything other than what their communities and what their environmental influences have been. I've literally met guys who said, I'm a drug dealer and I will always be a drug dealer because that's all I know. All I know. Maybe his parents, mom and dad were drug dealers. So when you educate yourself, or when men like that educate themselves, they see a different world. And I feel like the best education is education of self. So when I went through my college program and started writing essays on certain topics, I started discovering more about myself rather than what I was writing about. And just how I viewed certain topics, certain theses that I had. What's fascinating for me was my perspective on that. And when men, and I've seen in these classrooms, men who haven't been in a classroom in like 20 years, 30 years, and are finally able to express themselves and are expanded to something other than drug dealing, something other than being in gangs. I think it's one of the best forms of rehabilitation.
Since I have kids out there, I don't want to go back out into society the same way I came in. So if I can get a better education, then I can better articulate myself to my kids and sit down with them and help them through education, or encourage them to continue their education on the outside, which I have done. All my kids are in college now, and my little daughter, she just turned 19. She's in college and she want to be this radiologist. And she was inspired by me because, well, Dad can get his AA, and we can go to college and we can do things to get ours too. The education I received in here when I graduated in 2008, I was so proud to walk across that stage and have my family cheering for me, and also seeing the tears of them crying and seeing that I'm turning my life around. That was big. I'm interested in going to San Francisco State to learn anything that deal with emotional intelligence, psychology and stuff. Because there are so many people hurt out there that maybe I can sit down with them, have healing circles, and be versed enough in that field to help people keep from going down the road that I went to, especially community I'm going into, Oakland. I have family members that's hurt and been going through things, and I don't want them to be able to come into prison.
I do fear not being accepted by society and not getting certain jobs that I want. So what I have been thinking about, not just thinking about, what I've been pursuing is using my experience, using my incarcerated experience to create my own, not market, but a job, a career for myself. And one way I've been able to do that is there's a program here in San Quentin called Squires. And this program is a youth diversion program where at-risk youths from ages 12 to 17 come into San Quentin. It's about 2 Saturdays out of a month. They spend a whole day with us. We show them the cells. They walk into the cells. They eat the food we eat. They step into our shower area. They see the yard and kind of see the life that we live. But our real work is done through sharing our stories of incarceration. So I share my story, not just why I'm in prison, but what led up to me coming to prison. That's the most important part. So when I see this 13, 14-year-old and he's talking about his trauma, his experiences, I directly connect to this kid. And it's like I'm looking at myself when I see this 14, 15-year-old. So for me, returning back into society, I want to keep that experience, the experience that I've been through, and help out the youth in our community.
Adjusting to life is definitely going to be a huge culture shock for me. I've been down almost 20 years, and it'll probably be 20 by the time I come home. And to commit my crime at 19, to be a grown man now, that's going to be different. Right? I don't know what it means to pay bills, to own a house, to even rent a house. So that's going to be an adjustment. I'm like I said, I'm fortunate to have my wife she's going to guide me through everything and help me. She's going to tell me how to go get my license and how to go apply for whatever I need to apply. I just don't know. So it's going to be a big adjustment. I heard things are fast out there, right? The only time you see anything fast in here is if there's violence, right? That's the only time people run. That's going to be a big adjustment. And then going from that to the student life, I think that'll probably make me feel comfortable just from going through classes here. It'll make me feel kind of at home, for the past few years. I've been sitting in classes and sitting in groups. And when I finally get there, I think I'll really hit my stride, I guess, hopefully. And it'll bring me some peace.
Fortunately for me, this incident, as bad as it may sound, my family, all they came together. So as of right now, I have a very huge support system. I remember one of the lieutenants asked me, what does home mean? And he made me reflect on what home actually is. And home is where I feel like I'm comfortable, whether it's a roof or not. It's somewhere where I'm comfortable, I'm at peace. But to talk about the housing, the actual physical structure, I have different resources where I can go. Just the thought of not having a stable home coming out of prison is extremely scary. And I say that from personal experience because being homeless and being on the streets, it's a very, very scary process to go through. The prison is a place where every day you do practically the same thing. You have a structure, you have a place to go, you have a bed, you get fed 3 times a day, there's showers available, there's things that you don't have to worry about. So leaving this place of consistency and going out into a free world, place of complete inconsistency, not finding home, not finding a place to live, not finding education. I think the scariest thing for me is not being able to pursue my ambitions and my dreams and furthering my education because I feel like it's just a revolving door for me to come back to prison.
So for students who are homeless, I think part of that reason is the stigma that comes with being formally incarcerated. Like, it's hard to get a job. It's hard. I don't know what Man the Box is looking like or if it's really helping, but when it comes to explaining those gaps in your resume, explaining what happened, it's really hard for guys to articulate that. Not everyone is going home. Who's going home is a lifer. Like we have to do extensive preparation and extensive rehabilitation just to prove to the probe that we're okay. But those guys who have 3, 4, 5 years go home, they don't need anything but to just sit around. It's hard for them to really say, hey, this is what was wrong. And this is not, and it hasn't been completely addressed as deeply as a lifer would. I think your lifers are going to be, sadly, we're going to be at an advantage.
There's a stigma there, and it's going to shut a lot of doors with me coming out, especially when they hear what I was in for, and I felt a first-degree murder. And I mean, people put up red flag. I'll put up a red flag too. Will he murder me? That question is in there. Why did he do what he did? And if they was open to that and let me sit down and talk with them, then they would see a different light. I didn't wake up that morning and saying I was going to commit a crime. But it's through my past, and if we was to sit down and I could lay it out to them, it would probably make a change. It might not. But the stigma there, and that's their choice. People tired of crime. I can understand that and appreciate it. But I would like to have the opportunity to show another light.
Some of us have committed horrible crimes, right? And it's hard for people to get over that. But what they don't know is that we are human beings with wants and desires and issues. And the issues that we have are the same as everyone else's, right? Because I feel like everyone is one step away from addiction. Everyone is one step away from anger, and let that anger get the best of them. And I think it's just a common misconception to say that we're different.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tommy Shakur Ross with the San Quentin Media. Basketball at San Quentin State Prison is famous for including annual games against the Golden State Warriors. The 2 players on the prison team, on a sunny September day, that yearly event was a game of their lives.
You never really played one-on-one before, I swear.
Basketball is more than a game. Sometimes it can be a salvation.
2 points. 2 points.
My name is Cornell Shields.
Cornell, known as Corn, is incarcerated at San Quentin.
I grew up in the hood in Brookfield. It ain't not many people make it.
For him, the hardest thing about being in prison is missing his family.
I've been with my wife since 2009. We got married in 2013. She's been here with me through everything, and I love her and my son more than anything in this world. I'm thinking about being home with my son, being there for him and my wife, and taking care of them. I deal with that on the daily because it's a battle.
Hearing from his family gives Corn the strength to deal with being in prison.
Before my wife came, my mom was always around. She always made sure that I knew that she was thinking about me. We was pretty close. Since I've been incarcerated, she always wrote me a letter. No matter where I was at, she always kept in contact with me. Always found me and always wrote me a letter. That hustle and that defense they gave.
Between visits, Corn also uses basketball to cope with incarceration.
I'm going to sleep.
You know, like some people do whatever they do, baseball, drugs, whatever you do. I play basketball. That helps me get away. So whatever I'm going through in my personal life, whether I'm going through being here, stressing over not being able to be here with my family, all I'm thinking about is basketball. There we go.
That's ATL. He and Corn are two of the best players at San Quentin.
My name is Harry Smith, better known as ATL or AKA the Phenom. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia originally, and I've been down about 7.5 years.
ATL came to California with dreams of making his way to the NBA.
I played at 2 JCs, a JC in Alabama, then I played at Modesto Junior College before I ended up getting a walk-on scholarship at SF State.
ATL, a country boy, got caught up in the fast life of celebrity, women, and fast money.
I got caught up in the streets, and I made the wrong decision that landed me in here.
Corn never went to college, but he did grow up playing with one of the best guards in the NBA.
Played with Damian Lillard growing up, about 4th, 5th grade. It's crazy to see him on TV playing and dunking.
Bad choices under bad circumstances derailed both Corn and ATL's chances of going to the NBA. Good behavior landed them at San Quentin.
San Quentin is like a prison like no other prison I would say in the world, probably. It's like they give you so much freedom and help here. I've been at some rough prisons. So to come here and to get treated with so much respect, like a human, like a man, it was like a shock to me.
San Quentin models rehabilitation with over 81 self-help groups, including programs that teach coding, the Prison University Project, and the hit podcast, Ear Hustle.
Just come up here to San Quentin, man. It's amazing, bro. It's amazing opportunities up here.
The amazing opportunities include playing for the San Quentin Warriors.
Basketball has helped me get through a lot of adversity. You know what I mean? It's kept me alive from a lot of drug usage and fighting and all that stuff that I could have been getting caught up into.
Corn and ATL didn't make it to the NBA, but once a year, the NBA comes to them. The Golden State Warriors come to the prison to go head-to-head with the San Quentin Warriors.
And then to take the time out their day, come play with us. Inmates, convicts, whatever you want to call it. That means a lot. That brings the humility to it.
The Golden State squad consists of their coaches and front office staff, while active players attend for support and autographs. The annual game shows that the community still cares about the men behind bars.
It's just humbling being in here, seeing some guys who were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The game provides a way for Corn and ATL to keep their minds off their families, off their pain, off their remorse, and on winning.
Basketball gives me hope in so many different ways.
Inside the prison, Bob Myers and his Golden State squad wear green tank tops, while the San Quentin Warriors wear real NBA Warrior jerseys.
Playing against the Golden State Warriors, man, it was monumental, man. It was a time in my life that I'm gonna always forever cherish. You know what I mean? Bob Myers, you got Kurt Laker. You know, prior years he been playing with him with Kevin Durant coming in and Draymond Green. Just growing up with them coming in for the last 5 years, man, it's been an awesome privilege.
But winning against the Golden State Warriors will be tough. Out of the last 5 games, San Quentin has only won 1.
We were getting our behinds handed to us. You know what I mean? Bob came in that next year with 43, and then next year after that, it was just a blowout. So this year right here, man, was just so monumental because it's my last year
Out of any basketball game Horn had ever played, the obstacles he faced in September 15th, 2017, made this one the toughest.
My mom was being buried at that time, so what was going through my head was just to win, have fun, and make my mama proud that day.
Despite a hot start from Horn, scoring 6 points in the opening minutes, San Quentin was down 25-21 at the end of the first quarter. Bob Myers went crazy, racking up both points and rebounds. He kept Golden State in the lead until the fourth quarter. The San Quentin Warriors played team ball and trap defense. By the fourth quarter, they took the lead. San Quentin was ahead 5 points in the game's final minute.
Right there late. 20 seconds on the clock. Dr. Collins for three.
Crowd booed the ref for the foul.
At the time, I didn't think it was a foul, but after seeing the tape, it was clearly a foul. A stupid foul, by the way. Horn decided to jump out here on this three-point shooter. They ain't hitting not one shot, and it's like 15 seconds left. I mean, it was pretty dumb foul, but I know Corn, man. I know him on and off the court. It wouldn't be in his character not to go out there and attach that shot. But at the end of the day, you gotta ride or die with your team.
Golden State's Khalid Robinson made his 3 free throws, putting Golden State up 102-101 with just 15 seconds left on the clock.
I felt like I had let my team down. And dealing with that, I feel like I let my family down by coming to prison, my wife and son, by being here. I feel like I always let people down, so I felt so much weight on my shoulders. I knew I had to get the ball and either make the bucket or make the pass to the guy who made the bucket to win that game. And I wanted to make my mom proud. When he put that ball in my hands, wasn't nothing in this world going to stop me from getting to that basket.
Horn went strong to the rack, right in the chest of Bob Myers, and laid the ball up, winning. Horn's basket took San Quentin up 103-102, but there was still time left on the clock for Golden State to run another play.
They still had 4 seconds left, and I ran back and got back on D.
Horn finished with 19 points, 9 rebounds, and a steal that sealed the game. The victory seemed sweet for Horn in the moment, but later that day, he received more devastating news.
On that day, September 15th, 2017, that morning my dad had passed and I didn't even know nothing about it until I got after the game. He just couldn't live without my mom, so that morning they found him dead.
But in the thrill of the moment, Horn forgot about his woes.
It felt real good to bring my team a victory right now. It felt real good. I know we ain't won in about 3 or 4 years here. It felt good to beat Bob and them out here.
Bob Myers, who had 32 points and 31 rebounds, shares the 2017 NBA trophy with Horn.
I see what all the great ones didn't feel. LeBron James, Kobe, Jordan. It was unbelievable to be in here and to actually hold that real trophy. It's people who played 20 years in the league never touched that trophy. Never probably will touch that trophy. So it meant everything. It meant a lot. That was a very special thing for me. To be honest with you, when everybody was celebrating, I never touched the trophy. I never was in any of the pictures. It's bigger than basketball sometimes. It was more of a statement to the world about these guys in here that a lot of the world forgot about, especially for my boy Corn and what he was going through at the time with his mother being buried. You know, it was big. I was in tears on the sideline. I couldn't really celebrate. It was bigger than basketball. It was kind of like a revelation that I had got from God that day. He showed me something about this whole journey and what it really meant at the end of the day. And he gave me something. He gave me a jewel that I'm gonna keep forever.
Horn focused on celebrating with his team, keep it together.
What I've learned from the San Quentin Warriors I can take with me from the street, I learned that it's not all about you. It's bigger than you. It's about your team. Me, my team is my family, my wife and son. They come before everything.
For ATL, who goes home this summer, the win earned him a chance to try out for the Santa Cruz Warriors G League team. After serving 7 years in prison, he'll still have a chance to become a professional basketball player.
I just never would have imagined, how God could turn such a bad situation into something so good. A door that probably wouldn't even been open when I was on the streets playing at San Francisco State. So it's just crazy how God works, and that's how basketball really. I still got hope with it. You know what I mean? It still gives me hope.
Horn is scheduled to roll in 2023. He'll be 36 years old.
That was the most fun, the best win I ever had in my career. The best win I ever had in my career. Everybody was together that day, from the staff to the inmates to the COs.